Hello, 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 welcome back. My name's Sherlock Holmes, as you already know. I want to talk to you today about streaming, right? Streaming, super simple. And you're probably here because you clicked on it and it said, Beginner Streaming Tutorial. And you thought to yourself, I have a computer, I like games, I want to put that online. And that's what I want to show you here how to do today. Basically, I'm going to show you a super simple setup for Streamlabs OBS, which, I'm an OBS user myself. I started with Streamlabs. I think it's great for beginners because it's super beginner friendly. I do find a lot more functionality out of OBS itself, but we'll get there when we get there. When I first started streaming, it went like this. I said, that sounds fun. And I asked my buddy who's been streaming for 10 years or so, I said, hey Llama, I want to stream. How do I do what you do? He said, you can't. I'm just kidding. He said, you know what you need to do? You need to go over to Streamlabs OBS, download Streamlabs, and then go find a YouTube video tutorial to set it up. I said, wow, thanks. I appreciate it. Now, in his defense, since then, any question I have, he's been able to direct me in the right path or answer the question outright himself. He's been a huge help. Shout out to Llama Salami. He's a great guy. But I was drowned in YouTube videos. I didn't know what I was looking for. They all said different things. It was crazy. So what I want to do here today is basically just walk you through the very first stages of setting up a stream. Super simple. What I have here is Streamlabs OBS. So a couple things we noticed when we first boot up Streamlabs OBS. See a whole bunch of fields and doodads, a mixer, sources, scenes. We're going to talk about all of that in a minute. This mini feed here, that's popping over from my stream. Don't worry about that. This is not for you. You'll get there eventually, I trust. But pretend that doesn't exist because we don't need that right now. So first thing we see is scenes and sources, and that's pretty much how we're going to get the game onto the screen here. But first, back it up. What we need to do is mess around with some settings first. First thing we need to do is head over to the settings, bottom left. See this little cogwheel says settings. Click that. Don't get overwhelmed. There's quite a lot here, and we can really fine-tune things later on down the line. But for right now, we're really only concerned with a couple things. First things first is the globe that says stream. Go ahead and click that. You see stream type is streaming services. We can leave that alone for now. Later on, we can mess around with that if we want. I'm a Twitch streamer myself. I go exclusively to Twitch. I know you can stream on pretty much anything these days. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Blumble, Ludads. I don't even know. There's a million of them. But this is where you would select your service there. I've got it set for Twitch. If you're watching this for something else, you kind of play around with it. You'll figure it out. Main thing down here is the stream key. Stream key is super important. Anytime you create an account on a streaming service, mine being Twitch, you're going to get a stream key, which will input here. It auto-populates if you've signed into OBS Streamlabs with your Twitch login. If you haven't, you can copy and paste it there. You do notice a little eyeball here. I'm not going to hit the eyeball. That's so you can see it. We want to leave that hidden for the most part. We're going to have a little chat real quick. It's a good time to talk about doxing. If you're not familiar with what doxing is, something we want to avoid at all costs. So doxing is basically putting your information online to the internet at large, on accident, on purpose. Whatever you do, it's best to be avoided. People are crazy. You don't want them knowing who you really are, where your bank is, and where your granny's house. Just avoid it, right? So we're going to leave this hidden for now. We could also ignore server. I have this set to auto. You can select whatever server works best for you. I find auto works just fine, so we'll leave it right there. So as long as your stream has your stream key and all this stuff looks generally the same, big one being your service for whatever streaming service you're using, you should be good to go, and we can move on to the next field. The next field we want to talk about here is output. This one's super important. Right here, right under stream is output. This is going to tell Streamlabs how your stream looks, how it performs. If you have a lower end computer, you might not get a lot of really quality out of Streamlabs. If you have a great computer, you're probably set. You can find anywhere in the middle, whatever your happy medium is. We'll talk about that in a second. Generally speaking, the better your computer is, the faster your internet is, the better you'll be able to stream, higher quality, things like that. Makes sense, right? So I like to leave this on advanced. You can switch it to simple. It does filter out some of the options here. I'm going to leave it as advanced for now. I like to leave the encoder exactly how it is. You can change your encoder if you're familiar with all that. Don't really need to worry about audio track or Twitch VOD for now. Output resolution, this one's pretty big. It should match your monitor resolution. So mine's set to 1920 by 1080. That's pretty default standard these days, but if you have a weird size monitor, you might want to change that up a little bit. Rate control can stay the same. Bitrate, this is a big one. Bitrate's going to tell Streamlabs how quality your stream is. So I like to go for 6K, 6000 bitrate. That for me and my setup is pretty crisp on the visuals end, and it doesn't have a whole lot of buffer or lag or anything like that. If you need to knock that down, you could go to 2500, 3000, 4000, anywhere in between. You're really, that's one that you're going to have to play with to find a happy medium for quality versus you know, how your computer handles it. So the higher the bit rate, your computer is going to struggle. I don't want anybody burning out the graphics cards or anything like that, but shoot for as close to 6 as you can. If you can even go higher than that, great. But I find 6 to be choice for what I do. So buffer size, I like to leave the same at 2500. Keyframes, don't need to worry about that. CPU usage preset, as you see here in the tooltip, higher equals less CPU usage. So I have mine set to very fast. Seems to be fine for me. You can knock it down, you can boost it up, whatever. Again, this is purely based on your computer specs. So profile, don't need to worry about that. Tune, don't need to worry about that. And I think for now, we're probably pretty good. Later on, we can talk about hotkeys, some advanced options, notifications, multi-streaming if that's what you're into. But for now, this is going to get us a basic setup to stream. So what we need to talk about next is this big old black screen here. So if I were to hit go live right now, people would not hear anything. They would not see anything. They would just see a black screen, which obviously is not ideal. We need to add scenes and sources. The way you can look at this is scenes is kind of like a canvas right here. It's you can add different visuals to it. You can add audio sources, game capture sources. You can really do a lot with that. The reason scenes is useful is because I can have a game capture screen on one side, and then if I need to take a break or something, I can throw up a different scene for like a bathroom break or a stream starting soon, stream ending, something like that. Maybe you're having a giveaway, all sorts of good stuff in there. And then sources, which we'll talk about in a minute, is actually what's going on within those scenes. Each scene can have different or the same sources. That's going to be like your game capture, it's going to be your audio, any flavor stuff, emojis or well, whatever, sound alerts, everything goes into sources. So we're going to start off by creating our first scene. The way you do that is you should already have one populated by default. It should just say scene. If it doesn't, we can just hit this little plus here. Boop. And then we name that scene, whatever you want to name it. I'll name it Game Capture 1 and then hit done. And now it adds a blank scene. Nothing in there. Cool. We need to add some sources. And this is probably the coolest thing about Streamlabs is how easy it makes adding sources. All we need to do is hit this plus right here under sources. And you're going to have a whole lot of different stuff. A lot of this might not make any sense. Some of it you might recognize. You got different tabs here, all general widgets, all sorts of goodies. Pretty much anything you need is going to be under all or general until we get really in depth later on down the road and we can start selecting different things. So first things first, most importantly, we want to capture a game, right? We're gamers. We're trying to stream a game. What I want to do, a couple different ways you can do this is game capture or display capture or even screen capture. And depending on what you're looking for, you can choose either of those things. Game capture I like because it specifically captures just that application. If you're playing Minecraft or Call of Duty or Tarkov, whatever you're playing, it's only going to capture that. So you can tab out to, you know, internet, or you can tab out to your Steam or EA, whatever you're looking at, and the game will still be broadcasting. Whereas if you do a display capture, it's capturing everything on this monitor, right? So if I minimize this, like I'm going to right now, you can see that goes away. That's because A, I'm recording a video, not streaming, but it would functionally work the same way. So let me pull this back up, grab our sources here. I'm going to add a game capture. So I just click that and hit add source. We want to name it something. If you want to name it for a specific game, that's fine. If you want to just leave it as game capture, that works too. I'll name it Bert because I think that's a good name. All right. As you can see here, it's looking for a game to capture. We have a couple different options under mode. We have auto. That works usually just fine. If you have multiple things open, it can get confused. I like to select capture specific window because I can tell it which window to capture. Any full screen, that can get you in trouble sometimes. If you have something else full screen, it'll confuse it a little bit, and then hotkeys we'll worry about later. For now, I'm going to select window, and then you tell it what window. So looking through here, I have a game open. Game is Valheim. If you haven't checked it out, phenomenal game. You get to play a Viking. It's kind of like Minecraft. It's just what I'm using for testing purposes. So I say capture specific window. You say which window. I'm going to select the exe, which is the executable file for a game. It could be Minecraft, whatever, Call of Duty, whatever you like to play. I'm going to select Valheim. And boom, you're going to see Valheim popping up on my screen. Cool. All this can pretty much stay the same. Leave hook rate at normal, recommended for now. That'll be fine. We can tweak that later if we need to. For now, I'm going to close this. And you can see my game capture named Bert is showing Valheim. Perfect. So far, so good. Really, if we wanted to, we could hit go live right now and people could watch us play this game. That's all we'd really need to do. But, you know me, I like to go above and beyond. So what we're going to do here is add another source. What source, you might ask? Well, I like to talk while I play a game, and I like to have people hear me talking as I play the game. So we're going to add an audio source. Go ahead and hit this plus button one more time. We need an audio input capture. Now for this, we're going to click audio input capture and add that source. We're going to name it mic because we're going to use our microphone for this. A couple different things. You could be using a gaming headset, that'll work. Maybe you have a studio like recording mic, that would work fine, no problem. Whatever we're using, it's going to populate as default. We need to just tell it what we're picking up, right? So I have my studio microphone plugged into my interface, which is a Scarlett 2i2. That's what I need to select. Maybe it's you're using a headset like Logitech G33 or something like that. You'd select that from there. Whatever your audio is going into the input. So I'm going to select that. Depending on how you have your audio set up, you may need to downmix to mono. Basically, audio sometimes is captured a left and a right, like in stereo. Mono is going to bring both of those channels into one, so you don't just hear it from the left or the right ear. In my case, I'm using an interface that does have stereo, so I need to downmix this to mono. If we put monitor on, we can hear ourselves talking. It's super weird. You can leave that if you want to be able to hear yourself while you're talking, or you can turn monitor off and trust that it's picking you up just fine. Looks good to me. You can add, or rather tweak the levels here if you want to. We'll worry about the stream track and record tracks later on. I don't need to do a sync offset for now. Looks good to me. We'll go ahead and close that. Our microphone is up and running. As you can see here, we've got a new field in our mixer. That is mic. When I talk, you can see that mic peaks into the yellow. That would be ideal. We don't want it peaking into the red. That means it's probably clipping, which is a term for it being far too loud, far too hot. You also don't want it to be, way down here because then people can't hear you like at all. So you want to just scroll this up until a happy medium and a comfortable talking voice is peaking into the yellow, and then we're probably good. Later on, we'll talk about filters and how to add those to our mic so that we can add like a compressor and a limiter and a gate and all those things. Maybe you have some background noise. That'll be in the advanced section of the tutorial, I think. One other thing we want to check here is make sure our desktop audio in the mixer is not muted. That's going to be picking up game noises, right? So right now, the desktop audio is picking up anything that Valheim noise-wise is making. Cool. And again, we've got the basics set up. We're good to go. We could hit go live and people can now hear us and see the game at the same exact time. No problems whatsoever. But why don't we take it one step further? Some people, like myself, like to have a face cam. Some people love it. Some people hate it. It is optional. You don't have to do this step if you don't want to. Maybe if you got little kids that are trying to stream, it might not be comfortable for you to have their face out there online. I get it. But if that's something that you're into, we're going to go ahead and add one here by hitting a plus, you guessed it, on sources. Once we've got sources up, all we need to do is find video capture device right here. We're going to go ahead and click video capture device. And you could use anything from a built-in laptop webcam to an external cam. I've even seen people rig their phones to their computers to use as a cam. It's crazy the things people get going. I'm going to show you my setup, and we'll show you a couple tweaks from there, see if we can get it working for you. So go ahead and add that source. I will name it Facecam. If I could type, that would help tremendously. Add, boom. Hey, there I am. So as you can see here, it defaults to my webcam. I'm actually going to change it to my NVIDIA broadcast. It's a program that I use on my stream just because it adds a little blur effect that I set up there. People don't need to see what's going on in the background, you know, forget about them. But you'll be able to select whatever your camera setting is right here. Once you've selected that, you're going to see your face, which is real good. I'm going to use NVIDIA broadcast, like I said. Don't really need to mess with any of this stuff. It should be just fine the way it is. If you do need to tweak settings, you can match the output frames per second. You can change the camera's resolution, things like that. Color range, buffering. We're going to show you about filters later on in a different video if you want to add some cool filters. Something like what I've got going on here in the background with the blur. For now, I think we're pretty set the way it is. Audio, we don't want to worry about that. We'll talk about that in a hot second. We can close this, and as you notice, our camera takes up our whole screen. That's not good. We need to resize that. Very simply, all we need to do is click on the source down here, or we could click it up here. Either way works. And all we need to do to resize it is make sure we've got our source selected. I've got Facecam right there, and use these little resizers to just scroll her on in a little bit. Otherwise, it'll be just your face on stream. So I want my face to be about big. And then we can click and drag in the middle and move it around wherever we want to go with it. Left or right, bottom, top. It's really your call for the aesthetic there. One thing I noticed that I really don't like is how much, liminal space is out here, right? Let's get rid of some of that. I'll teach you an easy, cool pro trick. If we've got our camera source selected, we can hold Alt and use the resizers to keep the camera size the same, but get rid of some of that extra space as you see. So if we're holding Alt, we can kind of scroll this in and get rid of most of that. And then, boom. Now if we resize it again, see how those margins stay the same? Pretty nice trick. You can play around with that. Get it how you want it. Again, Alt key, as long as your source is selected, it'll be good to go. So, like I said before, I'll say it again, we can go ahead and stream right now, and we've got not only a game, we've got some audio captured, and we've got a face cam for the beautiful faces if you want those. We could stream just fine. Or, if you want a little extra, before I continue, we want to make sure that our face cam audio is not on. A lot of cameras have a built-in microphone that will kind of cross over and get real weird. With your mic here when you're trying to talk. So we just want to go down here, find our face cam, and mute that source. So that the only thing that's picking up is our microphone source and the game source, right? Cool. So now we could go live if we wanted to. I'm not done yet. I'm going to show you one last cool little tidbit, maybe to add some flair. I think this looks rather boring, and you can tweak it or you can use it. We're going to add another source. What I'm going to add is an image source for now, because I want to jazz this up a little bit. I want to make it look kind of, myself, add a little bit of me to it, right? So we're going to click image, add source, and I'm going to name it logo, because I'm going to be dropping my own logo on here. It's going to show up with the browser here, and when I click this, it does pop over to the other screen, so you don't need to worry about it, but we're going to select any image that you want from your computer, from wherever it is in the drive. I'm going to select that one, my logo. I'm going to hit done. And as you notice here, it drops my logo on the screen. Same thing as before, we can use the resizer tool here to resize it. And maybe I want to go ahead and stick it right above my cam. Maybe I want to go down here with it, maybe up here, resize, tweak it around. But now we've got something that's pretty basic, but looks kind of nice. We are ready to stream. We just hit go live down here, and now we're streaming. Super simple. One thing of note, though, that I want to make sure that you guys are aware of, if you check this out, right? See how my logo is above my face cam, like it blocks out some of my face cam. Maybe I want to kind of tweak that a little bit. the sources are going to be all in like a pecking order, top to bottom. So if I switch these around, you notice my logo goes under my face cam. If I were to leave all this stuff here and move my game capture to the top, you notice it hides everything else because my game capture is now in front of everything else. So we want to undo what we just did, dragging those around. Cool. Like I said, we're ready to stream. One thing before you go though, I want to show you how to change games. So a lot of people will start streaming one game and somewhere along the line, chat will request a different game, or you'll get tired of it and you want to play a different game. What's the easiest way to switch that over if we don't have another scene built? Well, all we need to do here is double click the source for our game capture, and we can then switch what window we have. So we can go ahead and switch it to a different game that way. Super, super simple. I'm going to leave it at Valheim for now. We're going to go ahead and leave that just like that, and we're going to start streaming. That's pretty much it. That's really all you need to know. The bare bones basic Streamlabs setup to get yourself streaming up and running out the door. Hey, I appreciate you stopping by. Hope you learned something. If you didn't, maybe you weren't watching, or maybe you already knew the things. I don't know. What do I know? I'm just a streamer, sort of, sometimes on days ending in Y. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you liked it, great. If you want more of this kind of thing, we can go in depth, show you some extra special tweaks. Like I said, we could set up an OBS video if you want to, but I think we'll leave it here for now. Good luck, happy streaming. Hey, hit me up and let me know what your channel name is, and I'll drop you a follow for free. How about that? Good luck getting to affiliate. Take care. Adios. Hasta la pasta.